Okay, as promised, I'm going to put together a few short video clips regarding the TestTrack Web Client, sort of a how-to for some of the more common things that you guys will be using it for. Um, and I'm going to start with just a very basic thing that most people will be doing and should be doing, and that's just adding or creating a new issue or a new defect. So first thing we got to do is actually log in. Um, I've created a bookmark here myself, but as you can see, here's the URL, and I'm doing this remotely from home. So this is the URL that you would use when you're in the field. And this, again, keep in mind, this is uh, not platform specific, meaning I can do this from any browser on any machine. So this is the great thing about this. If I'm sitting in an edge machine running a test, then I can have my browser open with TestTrack open and easily create issues as I run across them. I find, and I think you'll see this as well, that this is about as quick to enter the issue into TestTrack is to send an email. So let's just go ahead and get logged in. And in this particular case, I'm just going to do this in the customer service database. I could do this in the EC main database or the customer service database, which are basically the only two databases we're using now. But for demo purposes, I'm just going to use customer service. And I'm going to only enable the issue tracking module. Now, some of these options depend on what license you actually have assigned to you right now. So if you don't see the other options, it's no big deal. So as long as you have the issue tracking checked here, you're good to go. So I'm going to go ahead and connect. And I'm going to be presented with my home page. Now, depending upon your assignments, you may get a slightly different view here, but in general, when you log in, the home page is going to show you, of course, the moving around tabs over here for selecting different functions, and then you have these widgets which you can actually turn off or on. The moment we have all these turned on, and they're specific types of widgets, meaning that they, by clicking on them, I can quickly go look at predefined types of issues. For example, if I wanted to see what issues Bob has open, I can just click on the Bob Stafford widget over here, and it'll take me directly to which issues that Bob has open at the moment. Um, and of course, if you want to just see all of the the defects, we can always click the option here and turn off the filtering and see all of them. But for the purposes of this video, we're just going to create a dummy defect. So as you can see, we have the issues page open here. And right at the very top here, pretty dominant button says add. So that's where you start to add a new defect. So you hit add, and you're going to be presented with the blank form for entering the information in for the issue that you may have stumbled across. And I'm just going to make one up here, and let's just say edge color scale does not display correctly. Now that's just a real quick summary of the issue, and you want to keep that summary short and to the point. And then just sort of move down into the left here, and let's collect some more information about this. Now, this obviously is probably not a radar down type issue. This is more of a let's just see what it would be. The options are need customer input or something like that. These options also change depending upon which database you're in. These are more specific for the customer service department, but well, let's go with open, not reviewed. So we've just found this, and it's open, not reviewed. And what type is it? Well, it's a more of we call it incorrect functionality. And the products, let's just say this is a DWR 2501C. So you can see, you don't really have to type a whole lot here. The choices are there for you. You just got to pick them. In this case, it's an edge. And the severity, in this case, it's more of an annoyance than anything. It's not really causing a crash or anything like that. In the priority, well, most of them we call priority 1. So let's just call it priority 1. Let's say you're on site and you need this fixed immediately. and the date entered is automatically input for you. And the reference field here, actually just leave that blank. That's actually used for other purposes, which I'll discuss in subsequent emails. And your name is automatically entered here, that you where you entered it. Now, if you're doing this from the customer support database, then you can also put in things like the case number if you want to assign it that, which we really aren't using that much anymore. That we're letting the actual defect assignment number is the case number. So most cases that would not be used, and in the EEC main database it doesn't even appear. And if there are any specific job charges for this that you happen to know, then you would put those in there. And you might have noticed that some of these fields are in a gray tone here, color tone, and some are in red. Now the ones that are in red are ones that you are mandatory. You've got to put in some information for those. So I'm just going to make up a name here for this customer, and let's call it test customer. And of course you'd want to put in there whatever information you happen to know about the customer. I mean, nothing else. The country, just something that gives us a clue. And the address here. In some cases you won't know this. In most cases, the customer support personnel do know this, and they can fill that in. And if you're in the field, you may not know that, but try to put at least the country there. And then the original job number. I'm just going to make one up here. 0001. I tell you what, let's make it up, make it even weirder than that. Let's call it 9999. And then again, there's some fields here that ordinarily, if you're working in the EC main database, which is where most of you FSEs would work, you don't actually see these fields, like the support status, if this is a warranty or our contract are expired. And for those items that are not mandatory, if you don't know, you don't have to guess. You can just leave them not set, like I'm going to do here. Now, if there happens to be a situation where you've got a problem and it's causing you, it's keeping you from making progress, but you've discovered a workaround, you can actually go down here and actually type in, how you're dealing with this, how you're dealing with the problem, to move forward. And sometimes this is also useful for, sort of backtracking and figuring out how the problem showed up to begin with. Okay, so we've got all of our basic tabs filled in here, and I'm doing this kind of slow. I mean, you can pretty quickly go through those. So now we move over to the tab, or the section of the issue where you would want to put in more specific information. And in this case, the version found is pretty important. If you're sitting in front of an Edge machine, you can simply bring up the About screen and type in the version of Edge. In this case, I'm just going to make it NA because I'm not really having no idea what a version is. And for the description, I'm going to include the summary just by copying that and putting it in there. And then I would also add as much detail as possible here. Okay? I mean, the more the better. If you can duplicate the steps, kind of do it a step by step, then, Bob always says the more information the better. And then the reproducibility of it. I mean, this is sometimes significant. I mean, if this happens every single time, then you should make sure you select always there. You can see the other options here. Sometimes, rarely. Hopefully it's an always problem, which makes it easy to reproduce. And of course then you can type in the steps to reproduce. Now sometimes that's not necessary. I mean, just the description itself is, if you put in a good detailed description here, then you really don't need to put in the steps to reproduce. And that's about it. I mean, you can go down here and add specific information about this system if it happens to be slightly different than your average system, if it has other hardware not ordinarily associated with a standard system. You can enter that here. And also, this is a big deal right here, this attachments section. If you happen to be in front of the computer and you're seeing the problem on the screen, it is so much better to do a screen capture and attach it to this than to try to take a picture with your cell phone. I know some cases the cell phone's easier and quicker and the only option sometimes, but if you can, do a screen capture and attach it here. Um, let's just pretend I did a screen capture here, and we'll attach something here just as an example. I'm just going to pick one of these Ranger pictures here and attach it. You can see it's going to upload it to the web, and now the attachment's actually here, and it'll continue to upload that to the web server, or TestTrack web server. And now anybody will be able to see that picture. They'll be able to see the same situation, here that you see wherever you happen to be. So I've entered all the necessary information. This is just the basic information. And that's really all you have to do to create an issue. And then I just want to go down here and, if I have a series of issues, I can hit the save and add new, and that'll just, it'll sort of keep some of the tabs intact over here on the left side of the screen, and then it'll just open up a blank form in the area where I need to add more additional detail. So I don't have to fill in every, I make a selection for every tab again, or every drop down again. I can just carry on with the same basic information and add more specific information for the issue. And then we hit apply, and that becomes an issue. In the next video, I'm going to show you how to assign the issue. Try to keep these videos fairly short. So anyway, that's how to create an issue. And of course, if you want to go back and verify that you actually did create an issue, at the moment it's not assigned to anybody, but it is actually created. Then you can go back to the main tabs window and eventually scroll down and get to the one that we just created. Priority 1 open issues should get me there a little bit quicker. Okay, as you can see, my issue that we just created is very top on the list, and at the moment it is not assigned to anybody, but that will be covered in the next video. So I hope this helps. Please let me know if it does. I can do these. I'll try to keep them short. I know this one went a little long, but this was probably the more lengthy of the ones I'll be doing. So that's it. How to create an issue using the TestTrack Web Client.